Sup, Liv? Don't mind me. I'm just tired. The work takes its toll. Takes everything. But what good thing shouldn't? What is there to life, to living? And then the temporality, choice. But to sacrifice everything. For the good that you insist on. So I may not be in the most top form. Which basically means, I don't know, less eloquent and even more confusing. But what I want to talk a little bit about, and if this is all my live streams are just casual and not meant to be definitive. But what I want to discuss a little bit for those ears and eyes, it's almost part of the message to express it when it's not easy. To not back down. Or quit or lose faith or lose hope. No matter what, in whatever it is you would live for. Because dying for things is easy, but what would you survive to breathe into existence? For me, it's pretty simple. As much as it is complex. But my soul's yearning is for loving. And not my own. And not just for others, but for me too. Because it's not fair that it should be so hard. Good things are challenging. But there's a point where it's not just. and I survive. I get up. I keep trying. I don't give up. I take down. Because everything's worth that. So I don't know if I could ever make this post or speak to this topic with like a vibrancy of energy. Because a vibrancy of energy is like, I don't know, unequivalent to where we are in this like spiritual war, which for me very much isn't light versus dark. I have a love on for dark because light and dark aren't even opposites. But that's another conversation. It's the flow of love, or it's damning. And to that end, which is also why I'm careful in what I speak to and try to hide its utility, because evil can't create, but it can hijack. And can take something pure and turn it into something confused. And like, no duh, has that happened to whatever twin flames mean to most people. I first heard about the concepts in one of Paulo Coelho's books. I want to say Lyra or something like that. It's about a witch. But I don't know if it's like the Witches of Cabela or whatever like that. I don't think so. I am strongly connected to everything. But I thought that the concept was sweet. And especially so because in the book, the lead character, her twin flame, is this old magician. And it's fascinating to hear them speak of love and strong feelings, almost still romantically, but not in terms of desiring to possess or be with. Like intimate, but in the struggle with intimacy and trust. Anyways, I thought it was pretty cool. And I've read what Plato's spoken about it. I've read kind of how it arises in the Bible, and the Sufis have something to say about it one way or another, but it doesn't matter because most people haven't. And speaking of most people, as in and the few relatively that are aware of like twin flame elements, and the fact of the matter is that your whole universe, every one of our worlds, and each of us lives in our very own. I don't believe that that is persistent. I believe that sharing worlds is may very well be the hardest thing uh, on the edge of the universe. When a connection outside of yourself supersedes everything, damnation follows. Period. And that's really, I'd say, the most important widespread understanding that many don't know how to express, even if they know that they can agree with it. But truly, uh, the split, the soul split in two, it's not in another body. It's like it's to put it in like the spiritual vernacular. It's like you and your higher self, or truly like your soul and the other half of your soul that's like been remanded uh, to the etheric, and the reconnection of that. And I don't know if I don't know. There's just so much bullshit because people will take anything and everything and make it mean what they wanted or needed to mean to justify being unreasonable. And what I really speak to is like the I don't, like it seems like the majority. Because I don't want to speak absolutely, but of like when I see comments and like when I'm in chats and things like that, it's like basically I don't know, people stuck or just taking this twin flame label and using it for what they would have otherwise, just said, but I love him or something like that, I love her, but I love her. We're meant to be, just, and now it's like there's this thing called twin flames, and this is what people have agreed that it mostly means. So let's use it. And really, that's all I'll say to it on this video, because that's not what this is about. Because the twin flame concept has been very helpful for me. And so I imagine that it's helpful for you. It doesn't need to be an artifact of essentially codependent, abusive relationships. So, to that end, the other thing that, on the flip side, I suppose, that it's often used for is basically like the soulmate equivalent. And this has some saliency because there is such a thing as destiny. And that has a lot to do with your soul, the like cohesion of your soul, and the extra dimensional participation and the comprehension of non-linearity of time. That said, I maintain that, first of all, twin flame, it's really about your own reuniting with, in full, with your soul. But if we want to talk about like two souls becoming something more than themselves while retaining themselves. So not two become one, but like two become 11. That's useful. And it's not just to oneself or anyone else. This is goes back to like now, like the very like specific scripting of my title. It's like, how do you fall in love with anyone if there's this kind of like, I know you and we're meant to be together. Chances are this like only one of the people is having this kind of conversation. The other one's kind of like, what? Or like, oh, I don't know. Although, as this community grows, it's getting more and more kinder, and more like people are able to connect. And that's the only reason I make any of these videos. Is it's like a transition. It's only to connect with other people, really. Not like other people, matter of fact, really, but other people, like in reality. And so, in a way, after like the self-realized and still growing whole soul, it's actually like there's like a tangible like physics to people falling in love with each other. And at the risk of making it sound simplistic, it's like you got to know yourself. You got to know yourself. You got to know how to put nothing on anyone else. And you still got to be a lover, you know? But like, we all have a resonance to our being. We're all like, especially the more deeply you connect with like the spiritual hierarchy in your soul and the like dimensions of like being and requirement. Pardon me a moment. I'm just making a video. Did you have an okay day?
What?
Did you have an okay day?
Yes.
You had an okay day.
Not really. Nothing to stress. The toilet.
I'm going to change locations. I'm back. Oh, my dog's looking for some twin flame love. I'm probably going to remake this video, but what I'll say for now is it's not useful to think of yourself as anything other than what you are in the present. And when it ever involves someone else, that wasn't like self-explicit, that's it's not kind. And to either parties. Like, I've gone through my own journey, and the most powerful and potent perspective on the whole damn thing and now I'm really just talking about loving, is to not just put a label, but to not put a face, to just love and know what that is going to look like when it appears before you, because that's not new. What it looks like, who it might be, none of that doesn't actually matter, because it could be anyone. When you know, when you know what love is, and when you when you love yourself in all the ways that they could possibly love you. Now, like, I want to redeem relationship love from that concept of self-love too, because it's not enough to just love yourself. Otherwise, we'd be living in a universe of one without any distinctions of separation. And it would be really boring. Anyways, I'm going to make another. Thank you for joining me, Peace. And anyone else that captures this while it's still around. And no matter what it looks like, if you allow it, I love you. So long as we don't define it in a way that my love doesn't count, or needs to be something else. It doesn't change the love, just changes on what it feels like. But oh gosh, ain't love grand? What a journey. I think I'm gonna go walk my dog before it rains. If I'm really lucky, it'll start raining while I'm walking him. Peace, love, and all good things.